The last time I saw you was in Indianapolis at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway a week ago. The Indianapolis 500 is the greatest spectacle in sports. It's not even close. What even comes close to Indianapolis on there's nothing that comes close on scale, size.
Well,
I mean, it's just
for
enormous.
For a one-day event, nothing matches it. I would suggest that the Olympics are.
Oh yeah.
From a global perspective, and it's also 2.5 week marathon. But for a one-day spectacle, a one-day event, nothing that I'm aware of matches up with the Indianapolis 500. And yes, I'm an Indy guy now, and I guess I'm legally sworn to say that, but I really believe that. I mean, I have not covered F1 except when it was in Indianapolis, and that was a small disaster with the tire mess and everything else. But for one day, yeah, this is as good as it gets, and that was a phenomenal day, a phenomenal month. I mean, going all the way back to Graham Rahal failing to qualify for the Indianapolis 500. I thought that bumping was interesting. I just thought it was a really compelling month. That was, and the exclamation mark came with that final lap shootout between Ericsson and the eventual winner. So I thought it was great stuff. Newgarden, of course. So
it was. And yeah, Fozon, the World Cup and Champions League but those are events. I agree with you. Those are like the Olympics, but we're talking about one-day event. But and what a great to see a kid from Tennessee win the race. And you talk about basking in this. I mean, I was kind of cheesy. I put out one tweet that said Josef is really milking his experience. He had his wife. They were lying down on the yard of bricks with the baby and taking pictures. I mean, it was just, you could tell he knew what had happened because he's tried and failed.
This is his 12th attempt. And while, he's only 32 years old, he started in this sport very early and was something of a prodigy. It was still a hole on his resume. You got to think that you've got plenty of years to get it. But after 12 tries and winning 2 IndyCar championships and being as successful as he has been, you start to get the reputation as the greatest driver who's never won the 500, just like the best golfer who's never won a major or something like that. So I thought it meant the world to him. He made it abundantly clear. I think going into the crowd was both crazy and inspired. And I thought it was just a really good look for the Indianapolis 500 to have a winner who it was so clear that it meant the world to him.
And he embraced. Well, I think most of the drivers embrace every single person at that track. Indianapolis, they love. That's another thing about this event. I don't know that I can think of another event to where the participants are so in love with the venue, the city the venue is in, the people around it, like Indy. I mean, those people love Indy. They love the track. They love the people. They love the experience, the whole thing. It's a unique deal.
It's a unique deal because it used to be a month long. Now it's 2.5 weeks long. But, there's no other course where you go in, or no other racetrack where you go in and you have 2 full weeks. I mean, nobody qualifies the way they do at Indy. It's the scariest, most dangerous track, in the series. And look, IndyCar is IndyCar. It's a niche sport, but the Indy 500 stands alone. Just like Churchill Downs and the Derby, horse racing is what horse racing is in this country these days. But the Kentucky Derby stands alone, within horse racing as a standalone event, and that's what the Indianapolis 500 is. And I love how much it means to the people of the city. It's so it's such a huge part of our DNA.
Yeah, so much so that they can withstand the fact of having the broadcast blacked out on TV and not be able to watch it.
Right. And the bitching and moaning, you hear it from some people, but I think most people have accepted the fact that, it costs a lot of money. And I have not seen all the numbers, but it costs a lot of money to put the lights on at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That's a lot of yellow shirts, a lot of power, a lot of this, a lot of that. And look, the only event that really, fills their coffers during the course of the year is the Indianapolis 500. So I think they just don't want to take any chances. They don't want to open that Pandora's box of making it available on free TV. I would think there's an option to do pay-per-view for people who really want to see it, but apparently they haven't gotten to that point yet.
Well, that's new technology from what I understand.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something else that makes Indy unique. The media access, unprecedentedly open. The access is great. The drivers are very open. The track is very open.
Yes.
They're putting their wares on display, and I think that's part of keeping this thing the way it has been. So down home, yet an international event. Open coolers, people. If you don't know, you can bring a cooler with beer in it.
Yes,
into the track,
not into the press room.
No, not into the press room. Bob tried that and he got caught. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. That was me. No, but at Churchill Downs, you try to sneak alcohol in, and buddy, they got you. They'll bust you. Bam, bam, bam. They're wanding you and everything else. Oh yeah,
I didn't know that.
It's the complete opposite.
Indy 500. I probably love the 2 weeks leading up to the Indy 500 as much as I love the race, because guys are so accessible and they're so easy to deal with. And I've gotten a chance to talk to Mario and AJ and virtually every driver over the course of the last couple of years. Alexander Rossi, we sucked down a couple of bourbons and talked for over an hour 2 years ago or 3 years ago, whatever it was. So I just find them, they're unique characters. They live on the edge. They're all adrenaline junkies, and I find them fascinating, more fascinating than most athletes.
Yeah, it is definitely a difference, because 240 miles an hour is you can't even unless you've done it, and no. I haven't, unless I on a plane taking off. 240 miles an hour, looking down a straightaway, and then knowing you're going to make an 88-degree turn or whatever it is,
and be
on 9-degree banking,
be this close to the wall at 200 and some odd miles per hour. You think about other sports, and I think we've all played a little basketball, we've all played a little baseball, a little hockey, a little this, that, golf. This is the one sport where I can't begin to imagine what it would be like. Now, I've been in the two-seater with Mario Andretti and have gone, he said, about 175 miles an hour. And I know that was mind-bending. It was scary. It was cool as hell, but it was scary. I can't imagine going even 40 miles per hour faster with 32 other cars on the track. It's astonishing to me. But I talked to Ed Carpenter before the race, and I said, does it slow down? Like when you're out there in a race car, is it like me going 75 on 465? And he said, absolutely. Everything slows down and it's in slow motion, and the speed just doesn't strike you. It doesn't impact you the way it does normal human beings. So It's just a unique sport, and I have great admiration for the men and women who take part in it.
And the race itself was a pretty daggone good race. It got a little janksy at the end, it got a little NASCAR-ish at
Yeah,
the end. But you know what? I think that you're going to see that from now on at races like the Indy 500 because it's winning, man, and these guys are just pushing everything until the limits.
yeah.
So I think you're going to start seeing a little bit more of that.
I think so too. I had no problem with the way they ended the race. By the way, I realized it was a 1 lap sprint to the finish. If I was Marcus Ericsson, yes, I would be pissed off. But I just thought if there's any way to end the Indianapolis 500 at 500 miles and end it on green, you take that opportunity to do so, and they did. And I thought we got an incredible finish.
And then you mentioned Ericsson. That's a story that could have been, my gosh, that could have been the first back-to-back champions in since I forget who did it last.
I forget too. It's been a while.
Been a minute, but he was right there. I mean, he had that within his grasp. That's immortality. I mean, winning 500 is one thing. Winning it back-to-back, hello, that's a whole different level.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I think Newgarden is a very popular winner.
Oh, absolutely.
And keep in mind, I realize his first name is Josef. He sounds like he's from Sweden or something. But as you mentioned, he's from Nashville. He's the first American to win this race since 2016, which is remarkable. It's been that long. But, it was just a fantastic race. I realized it did get janky there at the end, but I thought it was handled well. And, sorry, Marcus, but the right guy won the race.